Ciao and welcome to Zwift number 46. We're on a Zwift Racing Club on the Bell Lap direction. There's 40 entrants into the race. It's a 10 lap race, 19.7 kilometres in distance with 169 metre inclines. So it's going to be a fast race that I was going to have to try and attempt to keep up. It's a Cat D race, 180 to 350. My current race score is at an all-time high of 332. So yeah, I've just gone up above 330, so that might cause me a few problems with my race selections in the future. But 40 people entered this race. Only 38 went over went over the start finish line, so I've grabbed hold of the front group, which is imperative in these situations. So the last few times I've done this crit course in Watopia, I've been doing it in the opposite direction, so I was quite looking forward to coming down the cobbles and then going up and over the rolling uphill section just after the start finish line. So it was going to be interesting. The difficulty with some of these races is that once you're in a group like I've managed to get hold of this front group here, it is difficult to make any breakaways or create any breakaways. So there's around about 15 of us in this front group at the moment, so that's likely to stay. We've got 2 off the front as we speak, and see how that goes. But here is the section where people will make their moves or try and create splits, which if you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll know that that's what I tend to have to do because I haven't got that sprint at the end. So through this race I'm looking to push hard up those rolling uphill sections, just so that I can create some sort of disharmony. But you can also see that the 15 riders that were in the front are now getting joined by a number of other riders, so the front peloton group has extended. I think it was about a group of 20 riders. So yeah, more drafting would take effect with a bigger group. So the 2 power-ups that we were able to get were the anvil, which you should have seen some people just popping on the downhill, which causes you to be heavier, so therefore going downhill you will travel faster. And the other power-up was the drafting boost, so being able to just sit in a little bit more gently in a group and just ease off for a little bit. So again, I mentioned this in my last video, but trying to think carefully about how I conserve my energy, so not putting out a huge amount of watts. 215 is below average for what I'd expect. You can also see that my heart rate at this point is quite low, and I was actually watching it thinking, is that being recorded accurately, because I don't normally ride with a heart rate as low as 140. The lowest it normally is around 150, but then I can extend it up to 170, and that's when I'm pushing my absolute levels of extreme, where it will be really, really hard to continue. So there's the other drafting boost that I was talking, the other power that I was talking about, which is the drafting boost. I popped it going down the hill and just eased off. You can see my watts dropping down at this point, and just taking my time, really, just trying to conserve my watts so that I've got more power when I need it. So just watching a few riders coming through here, like W. Reed and Jeff Heisman, RRC, he was quite prominent, and Hiroshi Sugimoto, he was up there from time to time. and it was just keeping an eye on all the riders. The difficulty is that with us having around about 20 riders, what I try and do is spot riders who are more prominent at the front, so likely to be a threat towards the end of the race, and riders who are dropping down around the back. So just keeping an eye on that. So as we go through the rolling hills, you can see that out in front of me is Jeff Heisman, and also you can see Sally Williamson there. But they just ease off like we all do, going along the flats towards one of the banners, and just wanting to just keep up with everybody here. So drop the anvil going down the hill. The anvil lasts longer than the actual cobble section, so you end up having it just after the cobbles finish as well. But you can see by dropping the anvil, I'm right out the front, because with me being a heavy rider anyway, it's going to even increase the opportunity for me to push on through the group. So there's Jay Shulton again there pushing forward, and got somebody off the front now, and let's see if they can maintain this. So yeah, you can see that W. Reed's pushed out in front here. It was just after the cobble section you might have seen him come to the front. He's easing off again now, and we've got a new leader out in front, G. Olazowski, but they're all brought back quite quickly, and it's just everyone back together again. And watching the back of the group, you can see on the mini map that there's somebody just getting distance a little bit maybe, but as soon as I say that, you can see on the mini map that they've caught up. So we'll just keep going through these laps and keep dropping the anvil going down the hills and see how that takes us towards the finish line. But you know, the main effort for the whole of the lap is just going up those rolling uphill section just after start finish line. So we'll see how we can get on moving forward. So something that I get a little bit frustrated with, given that I haven't got any mechanism for steering, is that the amount of times my character ended up on the right hand side just before these dead turns, this 182 at the end. So you can see I'm 11th place going into it, and then I go round the side and I'm at the back of the group, so losing 6 places. And it just seemed that for whatever reason I just always appeared often to be on the outside of the bend and losing quite a few places. But that caused me to push hard going up the rolling uphill section and making sure that I was in a good position. So you can see that somebody's dropped off the back here now. It is T. Vardal, and that's hopefully another one dropped. So always looking to see if we can get rid of some of the riders so that it's obviously a better finishing position can be produced at the end of the race. So I think we were down to about 16, 17, maybe a few more, and it's just quite challenging regarding the pace, because sometimes you can find yourself off the front, and then other times you can find yourself just a little bit distance at the back. So you're always constantly keeping an eye on the peloton and the group that you're riding in. See, I'm right to the back now, and it's just making sure that you're not ever in a position. You always need to be well positioned, put it that way. So 4 laps to go. Again, I'm on the right hand side of the track before going around the bend, and I think on one lap, I'm not sure if it's the next lap, but I find myself in first going into the 180 turn, but then come don't drop massively back because I'm on the right hand side, but I'm pushing up hard at the seat here just to make sure that I can keep in touch with any riders at the front. The mini map is showing me the group is quite well bunched up, so there's no real thought process of pushing on hard along this straight here so that I can attempt to split the group, because everyone seems to be in touch and you can actually see that I'm already straight right at the back. I popped the drafting boost going down the hill just so I can ease off and take my feet off the pedals slightly and just keep them spinning, but just, you know, keep in touch with everybody else as well at the same time. So I've got just over 3 laps to go and my average watts is now up to 225. It is increasing gradually. It was at 215 before when I mentioned it. My heart rate is still good at 150. I'm not trying to put out a huge amount of effort. Again, I find myself on the right hand side of the track, but I'm not trying to put out too much of an effort. I'm just competing with the riders around me. So if I'd put in an extra average 10 watts, I don't think I would have been in any better position going round in the laps, but I would just allow everybody else to be drafting off me. What I'm attempting to do is to use everybody else's draft so that I can just conserve my energy and use my energy efficiently. So that's why I'm not currently getting the average watts where I have been, where on occasions, not often, where I've got 2.8 or 2.7 average watts. But normally at the moment, because I'm using this slightly different strategy, it's usually around 2.5 watts, which is fine. So 2.5 laps to go. You can see from my watts at the moment up above 260, 250. That's only going to allow the average watts to increase. It's now currently up to 227. Heart rate's increasing as well, so you can see that the crescendo of the finish to the race is building up gently. So let's see how this pans out. We're still in that big group. We've got around about 16 riders still in the race. I'll mention it once more before never mention it again. But I'm on the right hand side of the track again, coming up to the dead turn. So 2.7 kilometers to go now, and the race is hotting up still. Nobody able to break away. We've got a few riders who are pushing hard off the front, and you can see that we're slightly stretched at this point, but I think anybody making an attempt to produce a breakaway at this stage would be very quickly pulled back in. Yeah, as we come into the last lap, what I found noticeable was the amount of back markers who didn't help in any shape or form with what was going on. I couldn't tell, as we go up over the rolling hills, I couldn't tell who was a back marker and who was one of this peloton. So you can see that at the front at the moment we've got W. Reed, A. Matteo as well, he's up there. But again, more back markers going past us. Jay Morstead, I think he was one of ours who we just lapped. But you can see just going up towards the banner now, there's around about 6 or 7 riders all in front of us that are going to, well, they confused me basically. I couldn't tell who I was with, and you can see that I've got distanced at this point. So yeah, we've been a bit distanced here as we've come down the cobbles, and I can't really tell who's in my group and who is a back marker. You can see in the mini map there's lots of blobs in front. I'm 10th position, so obviously quite a few of those riders are in my category. But I'm just constantly thinking here at this point that I just don't want anybody to go past me, as my wife's mum calls. But just making sure that if I can finish top 10, I'd be reasonably happy with this. And I actually come over the finish line in 8th position, and there we have the final results, which I'll go through in more detail now. So here it is. W. Reed came over the finish line first in 30 minutes and 33 seconds, averaging 3.1 watts. A quarter of a second behind was Jeff Heisman's. He averaged 3.1 watts. Then we have Jay Schulten. He came over the line in third, followed by A. Matteo in fourth. Fifth was Jorban Injon, averaging 2.8 watts. He was just 5 seconds, but the first four were all split by half a second. Fifth place was 5 seconds behind the leader. Then we have Philippe Matthew Diaz Baron. He was also 5 seconds behind the leader, averaging 2.9 watts. Seventh was Ruben RC. He was also just 5 seconds behind the leader, so very close. Then myself in eighth, just over 6 seconds behind, averaging 2.5 watts. Ninth, we have Pierrick Gramier, and then 10th was Simon Rodf. So pleasing result from me. My race score has gone up to 336 now, so moving even further away from 330. I would have liked to have kept it around the 330 mark so I could still compete in that range from time to time. So it looks like I'm just going to be in the range of 350s. So pleased with how the race went. In a perfect world, I'd like to be competing for podium position, but that's fine. I can take that. You know, I'm there at the end of the day, and 6 seconds behind the winner is not too bad at all. So hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, and I'll catch you again soon. Thanks, bye.